What's up, my home seller clients? It's Rex, and in this video I'm going to show you how to get the extra time you need after you sell your house. If that's something you're interested in finding out about, stick around. According to the California purchase agreement, the home seller needs to be out of the house at 6 p.m. on the date of close of escrow. Home sold, get out! Unfortunately, not all my home sellers are ready to move out on the day of close of escrow at 6 p.m. because we don't want them to move out anytime before we're ready for them to move out, because what happens if the escrow falls out, if the buyer changes their mind? Trust me, anything that's going on in a home buyer's life while they're buying a house, it's a big deal, so everything comes up. If they're having marital problems or money problems or something like that, it's going to come up, it's going to blow up, and then they're going to back out of escrow, right? So hopefully they've done that long before it ever becomes an issue. But we want the home seller to stay in the house and keep the house looking good as long as possible, because if something happens in a real estate transaction, we want to be able to put that house back on the market immediately and get it resold without any lost time and all this kind of stuff. And we want the house to look as good as it possibly can. If you start moving all your stuff out before we're ready, then and you move into another house, then you maybe have a vacant house, or maybe you got partial furniture, whatever, dirty or something like that. Now it doesn't look as good as it did the first time around. So we want you to hang out in the house until we're ready to tell you it's time to move out. And that is going to happen when the home buyer signs off on their loan contingency. That's kind of the last thing they got to sign off on. At that point, once they do it, then there's nothing else for them to sign off on it. They've accepted the property, and if they back out at this point, now it's going to cost them some money and you're going to get part of their deposit. So we want to wait until that moment, and then we'll say, okay, get out. But until then, we want you staying in the house. How do we get the extra time you need after you sell your home? Because maybe you need a few extra days, right? You need a couple days after close of escrow, but in the purchase agreement, the default is that you got to be out at 6 p.m. at the close of escrow. We don't want that. We want to make sure that we actually negotiate in at least a couple of extra days. So once the escrow closes and you got your money and everything else, now you can afford the moving trucks or whatever you need, family, friends, have a picnic, barbecue, something, whatever. Everyone can come over and help you move your house. Now maybe you need a few extra days, and that's pretty easy to negotiate in. A lot of realtors completely miss this part. They just leave it to the default, and then suddenly at the very end, the seller's like, what, I gotta be out today? And the buyers are there showing up with their moving trucks saying, get out, and they're moving in one side as the seller's moving out the other. It's just horrible, big mess. Everyone screams at each other. And I mean, I haven't seen that in a long time with our company, but I do see it sometimes, but we don't do it. We'll just make sure we get you at least 3 days. Like, that's usually pretty easy to negotiate in, because that used to be the default a long time ago. So people still are open to that idea. But if you need like 5 days or 7 days or 9 days, it's all negotiable. So we'll just try and find you that buyer that's going to want to give you those 7 days or 9 days, or see how many they'll, I don't know, if we have multiple buyers competing against each other for your house, which happens like all the time with our real estate transactions, then we'll find the best one, and maybe we can ask for it, 7 days, 9 days, 10 days, whatever. Maybe they'll give it to you. You never know. Now, the banks don't want you living in there for very long. Once the home buyer closes the house, they want the buyer moving in, because they have a owner-occupied loan typically, which means they got to owner-occupy it. They got to live in the house, right? So the bank will usually let you slide for a couple of days. But after that, if you go over more like 2 weeks or a month or something, now we're talking a rent back, which means you sell your house to the buyer owns it. Now you're renting your house back from the buyer for that length of time. The challenge you're going to come into when you do a rent back is that, typically that buyer, we're going to sell your home for maximum market value. So they're going to be paying more on your mortgage, on their mortgage, than you were on yours. So, if you're paying $2,000 a month, they're going to be paying $4,000 a month. So you got to pay that, whatever they're paying on their new daily rate, you got to pay that. So you're going to be paying more than what you're used to during that month that you're renting the house. So that's kind of a bummer, but you got to pay it. The other option is rent your house out and buy your other home, right? So you basically buy your home and then you rent your house out. So you own your home and then you rent your place out. If you can keep it, it's always a good idea to keep real estate if you can. And if you don't need the money for your next house, maybe just go ahead and find your house and then rent it and buy it and then rent your other house. The other way is you could do it the opposite way. You could actually go rent a house and then go find your house. So you sell your home and then go rent a house. And during that time that you're renting, you're out looking and shopping, and maybe the market's slipping or sliding or going down. No one knows where it's going to go, up or down. Pretty typical, right? You never know where it's going to go. It can go up or down 10% overnight. But starting on the slide downward, or maybe you want to sell your house really quick, get underneath the market, get as much money as you can possibly out of the property, go over and rent a house for a while, and then you start hanging out and waiting for the market to start turning back the other way, and then you jump in and buy your home and get a good deal on it. Oh, the other option is a long escrow. Maybe you do a 60 or 90-day escrow, which is possible. It's never a good idea to do a long escrow, because now you got buyers who are, the escrow's not closed, so they might still be looking at other homes while they're in escrow on your home, and that's never good. So you always want to close your escrow as quickly as possible, really. But you can do it, 60, 90-day escrow. Sometimes we do it if it makes sense. Well, that's it for this video of how to sell your home and get all the extra time you need after close. That's something we're going to do for you. So we just are aware of it, and it's part of our checklist, and we'll make sure we get you all the time you need, however you need it, and try and negotiate that in for you. That's it for this one. If you're ready to sell your home, give us a call. We'll see you at your house.